My name is Sunil Kumar, and I welcome to all of you on this webinar uh, on the topic New GST Return System for Small Taxpayers and its impact on India INC. So, before starting the presentation, a quick background about Taxman. Taxman, as you know, is the leading publisher on tax and corporate laws in India. We maintain the largest and most accurate online database on income tax, international taxation, GST, company law, etc. Our products includes books, journal, offline, online platform, tools for TDS compliances, etc. We have developed the national website for income tax department, and we also maintain the same with our technology and editorial support. So in today's session, what we would be covering, we would first cover the existing GST return system, that how the entire existing GST return system works. Then we come to the scheme QRMP scheme, which will going to be implemented from 1st January 2021. Once we cover the QRMP scheme, quarterly return monthly payment scheme, then we'll try to visualize and understand that how this proposed scheme, which is going to be implemented from 1st January, will work, the entire system, how it will work. And similarly for other taxpayers, we'll also analyze. Once we complete the entire session, we'll take up the queries of yours and we'll try to discuss the same. So let us start. Yeah, just before quick tip for attendees. Your mic would be mute during this session. You would not be able to communicate. You may post your questions in chat box, which is given on your right hand side. Your questions will be answered by our R&D team during this session, and we also take up the query at the end of the session. After the session, you will get the copy of this presentation for your future reference. We'll also be sending you the e-book on this topic through mails to all those who have registered for this session. Yes. So if we see the current return system, you would find that generally the taxpayers are required to file two monthly returns. First is GSTR1 and second is GSTR3B. So GSTR1 is not technically called as return. It is a statement of outward supply, but for the sake of convenience, I'm saying it's a return. So generally, two returns are required to be filed on monthly basis. GSTR1 is generally required to be filed on 11th of the next month, and GSTR3B is required to be filed on 20th of the next month. However, in case of taxpayers having aggregate turnover of rupees 1.5 crores in previous financial year, they have an option to file GSTR1 on quarterly basis. And as far as GSTR3B is concerned, for taxpayers having aggregate turnover of rupees 5 crores in previous financial year, they have an option, they are required to file their return on 22nd or 24th of the succeeding month, and this date varies according to the states in which you are registered. Whatever information you enter in your GSTR1, it obviously auto-populates in GSTR2A. GSTR2A covers the information of GSTR1, GSTR5, which is a return filed by non-resident taxable person, GSTR6, that is ISD return, and it also includes the details of import of goods as well as if you are procuring goods from SEZ units or developer. So information pertaining to ISGate that would also populate in your GSTR2. Now recently the government has also introduced this new form GSTR2B, which basically is auto-drafted ITC statement. This is basically used in relation to Rule 36(4) for computation of eligibility of ITC, which can be claimed by the recipient. Now, this ITC statement basically includes the same information which is available in 2A, but it is static in nature. Your 2A is updated on real-time basis, near real-time basis. But this 2B static in nature, it is available immediately after the due date of filing the GSTR1, that is 12th of the succeeding month. If we go and read the GSTR 2B, it basically divided into two parts. First is ITC available summary, and second part is basically covers the ITC not available summary. Now, one may say that how GSTR 2B can determine our ITC eligibility, because it would require human intervention to understand whether ITC is eligible or not, whether my situation is covered in section 17.5 or not, etc. So these things are not catered by GSTR 2B. It restricts ITC in certain cases only, and these cases are provided in GSTR 2B itself. First case is that if your time limit which is given under section 16.4, it is lapsed, in that case ITC would be blocked as far as the GSTR 2B is concerned. The another case which is provided by this form is that if the place of supply of a particular transaction pertains to other state. For example, you are registered in state A, you have hired a particular service provider in state B, and the place of supply of that transaction is also in state B. So in that case, there is a legal issue, as you all know, from day one of GST implementation, that whether I can claim ITC which pertains to other state or not. So this form clearly provides that ITC would be blocked. Though in this case, the matter has been pending before Delhi High Court in case of Delhi Tour and Travel Limited. So yeah, there is a conflict right now. So, but government is clear on this point that ITC would not be available. Moving on. Yes. So if you see, you would require to file GSTR1, and the detail of which currently is required to be uploaded manually using the ESP-GSP facility, or maybe the offline facility provided by the GSTN system, or you can also go to the web portal of GSTN where you can enter details manually. Apart from this, the new concept, e-invoicing concept, wherein the information from e-invoicing portal, that is IRP portal, invoice registration portal, that details automatically comes to the GSTN portal. So in that case, taxpayers are not required to fill details manually. This would automatically come to the GSTN portal, right? So in relation to e-invoicing, the GSTN has recently issued an advisory that how this system would work, the compliance, the return filing system. So the system provides that, the advisory provides that the information would be auto-populated from the IRP portal to GSTN portal. For the month of August, the advisory provides that the information would be processed by 23rd of November 2020. The due date of filing GSTR1 was 11th of November for the month of October. So they are saying you would not require to wait for this processing. You are required to file in a usual manner as you file your GSTR1 today, right? For the month of November onwards, advisory provides that e-invoicing details would be updated on GSTN portal on incremental basis, that is T+2 basis, transaction plus 2 basis. So for the month of December, the information for the month of November, the information would be auto-populated by 3rd of December, T+2 basis. Very important to note that whatever information coming from the e-invoicing portal to GSTN portal, taxpayers can edit them, taxpayers can delete them, taxpayers can modify them. The modification or editing, the advisory provides that once you do this editing, whatever editing you are doing, this editing will treat your document as a fresh document. So there would be at backend, you may see that there would be mismatch because you have not used that invoice which you have uploaded in your ERP portal in GST return. So maybe red flag would be there, and department will ask tomorrow that why you have not used this invoice in your GSTR return. So these cases would come at later stage. So for taxpayers who are currently required to comply with e-invoices, that is taxpayers having aggregate turnover of more than 500 crores, their GSTR1 would include auto-populated details from IRT portal, whatever information you have modified in your GSTR1, any other invoice which you will upload, like self-invoice for reverse charge transaction, etc. Your GSTR1 would not include cancelled invoice. Whatever invoices you have cancelled on IRT portal, it would not include your cancelled invoice. And return would also include other details like HSN summary, etc. Right. Okay. Now I'm handing over this QRMP scheme session to my colleague Dipali Mishra. She would be taking to all of you about corner and look of this scheme. Over to you, Dipali. Please take up.
Thank you, Sunil. So let's understand about the new GST return filing scheme, which is going to get effective from 1st January 2021. We can call this new GST return filing scheme as Quarterly Return Monthly Payment Scheme, in short, QRMP scheme. The key features of this scheme is that the taxpayers who will be opting the scheme will have the option to file their GSTR1 and GSTR3B on quarterly basis. However, they will have an option, they will be liable to pay their taxes on monthly basis. Once they are opting the scheme and filing their GSTR 1 and 3B on quarterly basis, they will have an option to upload the details of outward supply using IFF facility, which is invoice furnishing facility. We will discuss about this facility in our later slide. So about the key features we have, you have the option for filing GSTR 1 and 3B on quarterly basis and payment of taxes on monthly basis. Now the next question which may arise is that who all are eligible for this scheme? So for this, the government has set two conditions, that is, the taxpayers having aggregate turnover in their preceding financial year is up to 5 crores and their pending returns are filed will be eligible for this scheme. Now when we say that pending returns, we are talking about GSTR 3B only. So during the initial phase, that is January 2021 to March 2021, government has given a facility to the taxpayers that whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is up to 5 crores and they have filed their GSTR 3B for the month of October by 30th of November. Then the GST portal will auto-migrate these taxpayers into the new scheme. Now, when you must have seen that the GSTN has made the computation of your aggregate turnover live recently. So, if you will be auto-migrated by the GST portal. Now, it may arise a situation that you might even think that what if we don't want to opt this scheme. So this there is no need to worry. This scheme is totally optional, and when we say that the scheme is optional, we mean to say that it is the taxpayer may opt for the scheme and may not opt for this scheme. Also, it is optional in a sense that you can opt it through opted GST invoice. Like if you are opting this scheme, you can opt for one of your GSTN and not for the other GSTN. So for opting out also, a timeline has been given by the government. That is, all those taxpayers who are not willing to go through this scheme in the initial phase, they can opt out within the time range of 5th December 2020 to 31st January 2021. Now, it might come into your mind that whether we would be able to re-opt it again. The answer is yes. This scheme is available throughout the year, And there's a bit conflict between a circular and a notification, because the circular states that once the option will be available for you throughout the year. However, the notification states that once you have opted for the scheme, it will be deemed that you have opted for future tax periods. So it might come into our mind that whether we have to opt this scheme on year-to-year basis. So let's see if any clarification comes. But one point I would highlight over here is that all those taxpayers whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year was 1.5 crores, in the existing return filing system, these taxpayers will not be auto-migrated by the GST portal. Now, you may think that why such partiality with these taxpayers? It might be presumed by the government that since in the current regime also these taxpayers has been given an option to opt for a quarterly return filing system or monthly return filing system, and still they are filing their return on monthly basis. So it might possible that these taxpayers are not interested in filing the returns on quarterly basis. So, but it does not mean that they cannot file or they cannot opt for this scheme. They can opt using the mode and manner provided by the government. We will see in our later slides how can they opt for this scheme. So this was the broad idea about QRMP scheme. Now we will move on to our invoice furnishing facility. Now, what is invoice furnishing facility? As the name itself suggests, it is a facility. So it is totally optional. Under this facility, the taxpayers who are opting this QRMP scheme, they will be filing their GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B on quarterly basis. So government has given them an option that if they want, at their discretion, they can upload the details of outward supplies made to the registered person for the first 2 months of the quarter through this facility. Now, when we say about outward supplies, we include all the invoices, debit notes, and credit notes. Now, what was the need of this facility? So, if we consider our existing return filing system, government has given you an option to the taxpayers whose aggregate turnover was less than 1.5 crores that they can file their GSTR 1 on quarterly basis. Now, many taxpayers opted for this option, but the issue they faced was that their customers who were purchasing goods or services from these from their suppliers who were filing their return on quarterly basis, they were facing huge problems at the time of reconciliation. Secondly, they were not able to claim their ITC on monthly basis. So to fill this gap, this facility has been introduced by the government. So the taxpayers who are opting this QRMP scheme can upload the details of their invoices on monthly basis. The time period to upload this invoices is clearly specified, that is 1st to 13th day of the succeeding month. So this means that any taxpayer who is failing to upload this details till 13th, then they will not be able to upload beyond 13th. The maximum limit to upload the details of the invoices has been prescribed as 50 lakh rupees for each of the month. So since we have discussed this, that this facility has been introduced just to fill the gap between the existing return filing system, it means that this facility, IFF facility, will be linked with your GSTR 2A, so that your customers can claim ITC on monthly basis. Now, since it is already linked with your GSTR 2A, therefore, remember that while filing your GSTR 1, you will not be required to re-upload these details of your outward supplies. So we can say this is a welcome step by our government. So once we have gone through the IFF facility, the second point of discussion is that payment of taxes under this scheme are to be done on monthly basis. So how this is to be done? Let's see. The government says that you have to pay your taxes on monthly basis using form GST PMT 06. Now, what is this GST PMT 06? This GST PMT 06 is not a new form. It is your normal GST challan, which you people are otherwise using to pay your taxes in the current regime also. So in this scheme, the government has provided you the two methods. One is fixed sum method and the other one is self-assessment method. Now, fixed sum method and self-assessment method is again, both the methods are optional and the taxpayers can exercise these two methods at their discretion. When we say at their discretion, they can use fixed sum method and self-assessment method simultaneously also. Like you can choose one fixed sum method and one quarter, and you can opt for self-assessment method on another quarter. Supposedly, if there might come a question in your mind that if we have a sufficient cash ledger balance, then do we still require to make payment of taxes? The answer is no. You will not be required to make payment of taxes if you have sufficient cash ledger balance. But remember, your assumption of sufficient cash ledger balance should be right, because any wrong presumption will later on lead to the leviability of interest. So it is also clarified by the government that once you choose to pay once you choose this option and you pay your taxes on monthly basis, these taxes should only be used to discharge your outward liability. When we say that you are only be required to discharge your outward liability, they mean to say that, for example, we have made payment of taxes into our cash ledger, and before filing of return, we came up with a demand. So the taxpayers are advised, remember this point very carefully, do not offset these liabilities with your demands. Right. Now, if we go through the fixed sum method or self-assessment method, we will see what are these methods. As the name suggests, fixed sum method means the government is expecting you to pay fixed amount into your cash ledger. Now, what is this fixed amount? The GST portal, you will get a pre-filled GST challan, and this GST challan will be pre-filled according to the behavior of the taxpayer. Now, what is this behavior of the taxpayer? If you are filing your return on monthly basis, so and you have opted for QR based scheme, then the GST challan will be pre-filled equal to the amount of 100% of the tax liability you have paid in your last month, right? But for example, you were in the scheme since beginning, and you still want to continue with the scheme. The GST challan, which you will get, a pre-filled GST challan, which you will get, it will depend upon if you are filing your return on quarterly basis, it will get pre-filled through the equal to the amount of 35% of the tax liability paid for the last quarter. Now, what is the secret behind this 35% tax liability? The government assumes that the taxpayers should discharge their tax liabilities, 100% tax liabilities during the quarter. So if we take out an average of this 100%, it comes to be around 33.33%. So for a round figure basis, they said that you are required to pay 35% of the tax liability you have paid for the last quarter. And the second method is self-assessment basis. Now, in self-assessment basis, if a taxpayer has if he has if he had details of his outward supplies and he have auto drafted GSTR to be in front of him, and he knows that particular tax liability would come in this month, so if he is very sure, that then he can opt for self-assessment basis. Both the methods are totally optional. You can use them simultaneously. Interest and late fees. When the situation of interest and late fees will arise? Obviously, at the time of non-payment of taxes or short payment of taxes. What do you mean by non-payment of taxes? For example, if you have assumed that you have a sufficient cash ledger balance and you did not paid your taxes during by the deadline, then and at the time of filing of return, you realize that the payment is short, then this will be the case of non-payment of taxes, and yes, the interest will be levied. Now, there may be a case when you have made payment of taxes using either of the two methods, fixed sum method or self-assessment method, and still you have made short payment of taxes. Then what will be the scenario? Let's discuss. For example, if you have opted for fixed sum method and you have made the payment of taxes by the due date. So this is something a very genuine mistake. See, the taxpayer was he was already not sure what his liability was, so he opted for fixed sum method and paid the taxes by the due date. Now, at the time of filing of return, he is coming to know that the payment is short, so they can. So the interest leviability will not be levied in this case because it is a very genuine mistake, and government also identifies this mistake. But if you have opted for fixed sum method but you did not make payment of taxes by the due date, then definitely interest will be levied. And under self-assessment basis, obviously it will be levied on you because it is presumed that you were having an estimate and still you have made short payment of taxes. So when we discuss here that interest leviabilities will be paid, we will. It is very much clarified by the government that the provisions of Section 50 will be clearly kept in mind. That is, if you will have your net cash liability to be paid, then only the interest liabilities would appear. Late fees. When will you be required to pay late fees? Whether you will be required to pay late fees during for short payment of taxes. So for this, we will have to read the provisions of Section 47. Section 47 clearly specifies that late fees would be levied when you delay in furnishing of return of your outward supplies, inward supplies by the due date. So whether GST PMT 06 is your return, the answer is no. It is not your return, and therefore you will not be required to pay late fees on late filing of your taxes. Due dates. What will be the due dates under QRMP scheme? For GSTR 1, it will be the 13th day of the month of the succeeding relevant quarter. For uploading your invoices on monthly basis, it would we have already discussed. It would be from 1st to 13th of the succeeding month. For making monthly payment of taxes using GST PMT 06, it would be 25th of the succeeding month. And for filing form GSTR 3B, it is 22nd and 24th day of the succeeding quarter, depending upon the place where your business is located. Manner of availment and non-availment of scheme. We discussed in our earlier slide that this scheme is totally optional. Now, who can opt this scheme? First of all, the taxpayers whose aggregate turnover is up to 5 crores in the preceding financial year. Secondly, any taxpayer who has taken new registration in any quarter. Definitely his turnover will be less than 5 crores, so he can also opt for this scheme. Thirdly, taxpayers opting out from composition scheme can also opt this scheme. Who can opt out from the scheme? Since it is on voluntary basis, so you optional, so you can opt out on a voluntary basis, and all those taxpayers whose turnover exceeds 5 crores will definitely have to opt out from the scheme. The manner of opting the scheme is provided by the notification is that you can opt the scheme from first day of second month of preceding quarter to the last day of the first month of the quarter. It's a bit technical, so let's understand it with example. Supposedly, you were filing your returns on monthly basis from April 2021, May 2021, June 2021. But for the quarter July to September, you felt like opting this QRMP scheme. Then, as per the provisions which states that you can opt the scheme from first day of second month of the preceding quarter to the last day of the first month of the quarter, which in this case is 1st May 2021 till 31st July 2020. Within this period, you can opt the QRMP scheme. Now, for example, you have opted this QRMP scheme, but you are willing to again switch to monthly return filing scheme. The option to opt out the scheme would be similar. That is, you can opt out from 1st September 2021 till 31st October 2021. Now, here one point I would like to highlight is supposedly a taxpayer has exceeded the aggregate turnover of 5 crores, then he would be liable to opt for, he will be liable to opt out from the schemes from October 2021.
Thank you, Deepali, for the insights about the QRMP scheme. So we have understand the corner and hook of this entire scheme. Now let us understand that how the proposed system would going to work once this QRMP scheme is implemented, along with the invoicing, etc. things. Okay. So as far as the QRMP scheme is concerned, the GSTR1 would be required to be filed on 30th of the month succeeding the relevant quarter. If you are filing invoices on IFF basis, then you can upload your invoices from 1st to 13th of the succeeding month of the relevant month. PMT6 is required to be filed, required tax is required to be paid using PMT6 on 25th of succeeding month. 3B is required to be filed on 22nd or 24th of the month succeeding the relevant quarter. This information would auto-populate in GSTR2 similar to the current system, and accordingly the information would also be available in form 2B. But as I said you earlier in starting that 2B is available, 2B is static, and the information is available immediately filed after the due date of GSTR1. So in this case, since GSTR due date is 30th of the month succeeding the relevant quarter, therefore in this case GSTR 2B would be available 14th of the succeeding month, right? Okay. Now for other taxpayers, they would file their GSTR1 on 11th of the succeeding month, similar to the current system. They would file GSTR 3B on 20th of the succeeding month, similar to the current system. The information would go to GSTR 2A, again similar to the current system. Important to note that in this case, 2B would be available on 12th if these taxpayers are procuring goods exclusively from persons other than QRMP. Once you are procuring goods from QRMP, then your 2B would be available on 14th instead of 12th, right? Okay. Now, before coming to Q&A, we want to highlight few points that this this QRMP scheme, there is a bit conflict in the rules and the Act, Section 37, which deals with the GSTR1 statement of outward supplies. It currently provides that you can file your return on monthly basis. Vis-a-vis, if we see the scheme, it provides that you can file quarterly. So there is a bit conflict in the law. Though I don't foresee any major implication because of this conflict prima facie, but yes, there is a conflict, and we believe that it would be cured by the government, maybe in budget or any time when government intends to make amendment with the GST Act. Right. The other important point is this scheme really beneficial one or not? Will it ease the compliance or not? So to an extent, we believe that yes, it would help small taxpayers. But if we critical analyze this scheme, one may say that tax should also be allowed to be paid on quarterly basis. This is a genuine demand for the small taxpayers. But considering the government's perspective, uh, uh, that okay, they'll allow credit to other taxpayers on monthly basis and allow quarterly payment of taxes to this QRMP or small taxpayers. Uh, Considering the current scenario, probably it seems that they would not allow this because we are seeing regularly the GST fraud cases, etc. So currently, we feel that they would not allow this quarterly payment also to these small taxpayers, right? Okay, so let us conclude this session with a few questions which we have. Okay. Yes. So Mr. Haridharan has asked the question that whether payment of GST through PMT6 is only through cash or ITC can be utilized for payment of GST also. Mr. Haridharan, PMT6 is a chalan, a payment chalan. So you would be required to be pay tax only through cash. So you can only pay tax through cash. So ITC would not be available. For first 2 months, ITC would not be available to you if you are going with the fixed term method, because that already presumes that you have availed the credit because it is based upon the last month or last quarter, right? So ITC would not be available in that case. Second question, Mr. Parag, he said that, sir, my question is that is this legally valid or not? Mr. Parag, we cannot comment on this point that whether the scheme is legally valid or not. But yes, there is one conflict, as I highlighted you. That scheme provides that you can file your returns etc. on quarterly basis, but the law, the CGST Act provides the monthly filing system right now. Okay. Mr. Rahul has asked, what if we do not pay at all and make the final payment within the GSTR due date? Will interest be charged in that case or not? Rahul, interest would be charged in that case for the reason the government has provided that the due date of making payment would be monthly and that would be on 25th of next month. So if there is any liability, then obviously you would be required to pay tax within that due date. If you don't pay that tax, interest would be applicable. Okay. Will monthly taxpayer have due dates of 22nd, 23rd, or 24th, or 20th? It would be 20th, Mr. Rajat Kumar. It would be 20th. Fine. Okay. So we are done with our presentation. With thanks to all of you for joining us today. Thank you. Thanks a lot.